I earned 2,350 euro in 40 minutes. When this is interesting for you, watch this video. This is the strategy of the World Cup Championships. And we use it every day, and it is easy and simple, but you have to be very disciplined to go away like this. And today I will give you a live session that you will be able to understand very deep what I have done. And I think it is amazing good. I have done my best that I can explain you all the things I have done when I trade, and I think it is good for you. I translated this video with AI. I'm not a native English speaker, but it is cool for you. Trust in me and believe in me. Thanks a lot for your time.
All right, my dears, here we have a wonderful price area where I'm looking for a long entry, and that's why I'm now opening the first position. The stop loss goes below the last low here, and my take profit is set above the highs. I'll explain in a moment why that's the case. Because up here we've formed a beautiful ledge, and I expect the market will take those out. And now, of course, the question is, why is that the case? To answer that, let's dive a bit deeper into the market and take a closer look at the whole thing. Take a look here. You can see it really clearly here. At the top, there was initially a bit of rejection. There was liquidity at the top, and the really crucial thing is this. If we look at yesterday's profile here, we formed a nice buying tail down here after the market opened, then moved back into value, saw rejection at the POC, and are now making the pullback. And now we should definitely reach the price area of the value high up here. And since I know that just above here, around 644, right here where my mouse is, there's a very high probability that the market will take out this entire ledge, I'm quite hopeful that this will turn into a really nice trade with a very large risk-reward ratio. And we'll take a look at that together. Let's just wait and see. At the moment, there's nothing to do except wait. So here you can really see nicely how the market was absorbed at the bottom. And the question now is, will it hold this level or break down through it? You never have certainty. Nevertheless, it's nice to see how aggressive buying keeps happening down here. That doesn't happen without a reason. And now we just have to wait, because in the end, the market does what the market does. Shall we take a look at this in the dynamic concept? And I'll bring up my nice overview chart. Here we go. Look, here you can see a textbook example. Up here is today's point of control. Currently, the market is just consolidating here. It looks a bit weak, but all the better, because if it does go up, the market will make a really strong move. And that'll ring the cash register, and that's exactly what we want. So you can already see here, there's volume down here and there's volume up there. In between, there's a bit of an empty space. And as long as we hold these volumes here, for me, the probability is there that the market can shoot upwards. And now we just wait for that. Let's see. And once again, we're at the level and buying aggressively. You can really see here how aggressively people are buying. Also in the S&P here on the left side, you can clearly see how the market is constantly holding its ground. Down here, you can also see the buying tails, and now we're already above the POC and power is coming in, exactly what we want to see. I will now switch to the 1 minute chart, and then I will proceed to show you precisely what it's like. Take a look. This time, you can really take a truly great and comprehensive look at precisely what is going on here. If we continue to move steadily up and carefully maintain the current speed, I'll add to the position again at the breakout. And I think it's really easy to see how the market participants are pushing here right now. What do we need to do now? Basically nothing at all. All we can do is wait. Stop loss, as mentioned, below the bid, below the business zone. And you can already see that here. From chance, risk ratio, and 4. So 4-1 from the winning line. Not exactly. but that's quite good. Let's take a look at the dynamics together. Let's see what the market is showing us here in terms of dynamics, so you get a better impression of what I'm looking at here. We'll observe the position while doing so. And here you can see it beautifully. We're still below the absorption volume here, where, by the way, we first covered our initial long trade. Down here, we can see how the market absorbed again. And as soon as we move past this point, it's going to be a really nice story. And then we'll have a very, very aggressive long trade. And I assume that's when things will really take off. You can also see this very nicely from a technical perspective here, how the market moved down here and is now relatively stable and is once again looking for its way up. It might be interesting now to take a look at the market speed up here and what kind of orders are up here. Take a look, there's a big order at 25,600. That's also a good sign that the market wants to go higher. And then I always look, where is the 25,600 level? You can see it clearly, yes, there's still a bit of room up there. And now we'll just wait until it goes up. Around the 25,644 area, then 640. That's where we need to be careful. I think if it breaks through here soon, the market will make a really nice move. Exactly, and here we go. You can really see it perfectly here now. So now it's crunch time. We're already up here at this step I just mentioned with the big order. And boom, did you see how it shot up? Wonderful, isn't it? And that's always a good sign when the action starts up here. I'll take you back into the dynamic concept again so you can recognize it better. So, and now we can really see it here. You can tell the guys are really pumping a lot of volume in right now. But it's being absorbed. So there's still a seller here at 25,600. You can see that really well. For the scalpers, now would be the right time to exit. But I don't want to scalp. I want the momentum to happen above here. And then if we move up to the value high around 25,640, I might be willing to sell the first position. Yes, that would simply be a logical consequence. But let's summarize the whole thing again. First of all, the business zone was constructed beautifully here. The market opened lower, then crashed down, came back in, formed acceptance, then made a nice pullback to the business zone, and here it confirmed it again and showed us that there are aggressive buyers, and now we can see it very clearly around the 25,600 area. It's currently being absorbed and the market momentum is fading. You can also clearly see now how the market participants are selling a bit here. Yes, that's normal. It takes time, especially when the markets have been in such a consolidation phase for so long. Nevertheless, at the moment, the long side is still to be favored. Here you can see it nicely again. There is volume at the top, which means these price areas are being accepted. But of course, you always have to be mindful of what happens if the market drops below that level. And if it does drop below, you simply have to see what's on offer there. But as long as we stay above here, everything is super easy and the market can just keep running. Yes, then you see here is the low volume area, and now it gets interesting to see how the market reacts to it. As I said, for the scalpers, they're getting out up here now. But we intraday swing traders, breakout traders who are waiting for the explosion, we wait patiently. So I'm just going to quickly grab something to drink because the market will do what it does anyway. It doesn't need me for that. Actually, let's wait a moment. Liquidity is coming back in. I can see that right now. We should watch this together. As I said, the position is running. I'm waiting patiently. And you can already see it again. The 600 is being cleared again here. Liquidity is leaving. The scalpers would probably be cashing out again here for now. But I can see exactly, I see it right now. Now they're starting to pile in the buyers here. But up top, you can still easily find the sellers from earlier. And now there should be a small profit soon. Right now you can already see 100 ticks risk, we've got 161 on the clock. That's a good risk-reward ratio for a trade like this, but still not what I'm hoping for. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, my dears, now you can start counting down. It's about to happen. 3, 2, 1, and boom, the market does its thing. And then the cow takes off. See, I told you so. Look up here. Big order. This time it's the 620 and it's about to get taken out. Wonderful. And there's the boom. Exactly as I called it. And now it's really time to be careful. Because up here we absolutely need to get a closing price now. Then I'll keep the position. Otherwise, I'd just close out one contract right away and be happy with that for now, with what the market has offered me here. All right, look, now we're at the high, we're above the high. And what happens above the high? At first there's a bit of selling, but look at the dynamic up there. Yeah, they're selling pretty aggressively. But just look at what's happening here. You can see it beautifully here, and you can also see it beautifully in the S&P. Everything still looks good. It's dominated by the buyers. Look at what's going on here in the S&P. Can you see it clearly? See? And now something needs to happen. Dear folks, now we need to hold above this level. Otherwise, it's better to close out a position. All right, and off we go. Come on, my friend. Do you see how the market is being held here? That's really nice. Another nice order at the top. Wonderful. Yes, and there's the move. That's exactly what I expected. Right above here. And now I think it's going to go a little bit further in a moment, because now it's about to break the highs as well. And then there should be another small wave to follow. But let's see. There it is again. There's real action here. Real contracts are being traded. And as you know, when there's a lot of supply and demand, it means these prices are currently in high demand. So let's close out a position. We're happy with that. We'll leave the stop loss down here for now. That's all fine. Because I just saw that there's too much rotation up there. And so we've been able to secure our first batch for ourselves. Wonderful story. Yes, we've just pocketed the first $1,200 or so. Now let's just see how the story continues. The rest will be provided by the market. We have time. So let's go back in together and take another look at the whole thing. And I want to show you this again from the perspective of the trading volume, so you'll understand why I'm still holding the position and waiting as long as we stay above this price range. And if the market lingers a bit in the low volume area here and then picks up action again, the whole thing is fine for us. But nonetheless, up here where we sold, I noticed that liquidity is decreasing. And that's fine. That's just part of it. The market doesn't always shoot everything out in a streamlined way. That's normal. So now you can see market participants, the 620, the scalpers, who remember this from the order book. That was the price range where there was pretty massive resistance. Besides, I have 25,600 in mind. Those were the two price levels where I saw large orders sitting down here. Sorry, here. Exactly. 620 and 600. And you can see that beautifully as well. Here the market had liquidity. And yes, as long as this level holds and maybe the price moves around in there a bit, everything's cool. But if it drops below that, then it's game over. Then we should definitely exit the market, because then there will be a longer pullback to the downside, and that's just not necessary. So what do? We now adjust our stop loss. Specifically, to the price area of exactly 591. We don't want to see the market below that. And then everything's cool. Why am I adjusting the stop loss? That's also important to understand. Because down here, because I consider the probability to be relatively high that the market will then take out all the liquidity, because it has accumulated here, and in between it can play around, but if it goes below that, it's simply over. Then that's okay. Then not much will happen for now. That would also put us back within today's value area. You can see that as well. As long as we're above it, the market is, let's say, a bit out of control. So there could still be a lot of action to the upside. And of course, that's what we hope for, because that would be good for our position. Now we're back at 620. As I said, the scalpers remember things like this because that's the price range. And just look at what's happening above that right now. Do you see that? This is where things are really heating up. And of course, it's always good to see that. And what I also notice is that the S&P still hasn't taken out the tops. That's obviously great for us, because the probability is now very high, since we've also closed above here, that it will want to do just that and see what kind of liquidity is available up there. I think that's also a very important lesson. You can't control the market, you can only react to the circumstances that arise. Like I just said, for example, I moved the stop loss to a price range where I simply expect the opposite of my long position. And before that, it doesn't make sense to move the stop loss. You always have to make decisions. What kind of trader, what trading personality are you? And if you're a very impatient person, then you tend to react far too quickly. And if you become more rational simply because you've gained a lot of experience, then you wait. And what I can see beautifully here is the probability, especially that it could go up again now. For me, that's simply higher right now. I also want to show you this here in a little picture. Let's just take a look here. Yes, as long as we stay above here, the probability is simply high that it will take out this swing high at 82. And then the probability is also high that the Nasdaq will keep running, because there's just action in it. And that's exactly where you can wait patiently. And we won't lose anything here anymore, even if the market stops us out. That's not a problem at all. That's just part of it. That our idea just didn't work out at first. And we've already taken profits twice now. And we'll experience the rest in a moment. So I always say, now it's making another run up. Look at how there's action here again now. You remember down there was the 600. That was the area where we saw a lot of liquidity coming in. Yeah, it doesn't look all that great right now, but now they're in the mood to buy again, the guys. Look, you can see it beautifully right here in the S&P as well. Now they're jumping in again. So now I'm curious to see why. Let me show you my dynamic view, what I'm seeing here, and now the following is happening. You can see up here that was liquidity, which it accepted. Now down here, liquidity has formed again, but we're in the low volume area. That means it's doing nothing other than filling this empty price area with liquidity now. And as long as the last buying area where aggressive buying took place, and up here where the market said, yes, I like these prices, as long as that holds, it's not critical. However, if we go down here now, then it's over. That would mean the sellers here were just very strong. You can also see that in the delta here. It's decreasing, but it's nothing dramatic. It's all easy. Scalpers would probably have bought into a position here again. I deliberately didn't do it this time so as not to cause too much action. So the S&P is making another attempt, still holding this price area. And this is also the volume step here, where volume is being accumulated again. Now it's getting interesting. Yeah, there's really no reason to sell. It still looks good. If we take out the 620 again now, this step up here, everything's cool. As long as we're below that, it could be that it tests the 600 again. This is the step here. Do you see that? That's just the ongoing game that's being played out right now. I clearly see it unfolding here now, and I simply can't help myself. I'm definitely buying yet another significant position because there's just far too much inherent strength in it for me to resist, truly. So, that's actually quite fascinating and interesting. Now, at the 600 I just mentioned, and now, of course, there's pressure on it. You can see that too. Here we're buying our last position now and just saying all or nothing. Either it breaks out upwards now or it turns around and it's over. Nothing more, nothing less. I can also show you this again here in the dynamic concept. What I'm seeing now. I'm looking at the 600 area here now. I'm watching what happens here now. I see that the market broke through liquidity nicely on the downside and now wants to move back up again because up here are the fair prices. You see, that was very good. The first attempt didn't work right away. And now something's happening. Our stop loss is really tight, which means we have absolutely no stress. We won't lose anything more there. And now we can just see whether the market proves us right with our stance, with our opinion or not. That's all you can do now. It hasn't seen the 620 again yet, up there. I'm curious to see if it'll test it again. What you can see nicely here is that the S&P is moving back up to its step, to its volume step. And the Nasdaq is more aggressive again, so there's still a bit of pressure here, a bit more selling going on. You really have to watch now. So now it gets exciting. So if the S&P doesn't make it past the step now, then I'd be ready to close out one of the very short-term positions again. Because what you've got, you've got. But for now, I'm just going to watch this. Look, you can see it quite well here. There's some absorption happening here right now, but there's nothing wild going on. There's nothing wild going on. It would be nice if we could get above 660 now. Close it right away. That would be great for us. Otherwise, the steps are holding for now. So now there's another attack on the 59. And did you see there was aggressive selling again? Yeah, that's obviously not so nice. So 612, you will certainly give me that. And another attempt. You can see the speed here isn't very high. The question is, what happens above here now? Exactly. So, and now he's basically playing the game up to 620 as long as people keep selling again. Oh, guys. All right. So the 5-minute close is coming up in a moment. Yeah, you can see that nicely here. And now the question is, are we above it or below it? And now we're almost at 620. That's where we should push to now. Exactly, you see there's the seller again. So, and then we'll take a few ticks off. That's a sensible move right now. And whatever happens above that is all bonus for us now. But as you can see here, the 620 is holding for now. And now we can't lose anything anymore. Yeah, that's the trade. The trade is just awesome if it works out. Otherwise, it's just over. Yeah, what you might have learned here is that you can really look at the whole dynamic concept very closely, especially if you analyze the order book a bit more deeply, and you can see where the market has absorption and at which price levels there were big orders. And now, for example, if we go above 620, and even now you can see the speed is picking up, there's action happening. And if we push above it, then the sky's the limit. But as long as we're below it, it's just going to keep consolidating back and forth. And you also saw that I placed an order too early because I expected the breakout to happen. So it didn't happen, but that's not a big deal because it was all within a price range where the probability was very high that it would keep moving up. And now we definitely won't lose any more money and can just sit back and relax. In a moment, we'll have the 15-minute close. Let's see. Look, and you can see it beautifully here. The market is really at a very, very exciting price level on slightly larger time frames. That's where it was yesterday. In the top free market, we didn't make it. And whether we make it this time or not, there's a big order up here, which is already good. Yeah, so it could be that it wants to eat those up. Liquidity is moving back up. I'll show you this again briefly so you can see what I'm looking at here. The market has gathered liquidity here again, and now it just needs to move above. Now we're back at 620. Take a look here, and again, selling is happening. Yeah, so this is really the exciting price range. And now the question is whether it will push sustainably or continue to consolidate. So now it's 1845, and unfortunately, we still don't have any higher closing prices here. And above 81, it would be nice if it would push above that for once. 81.75. And as long as it doesn't do that, there's a high risk that we'll see a pullback for now. That's just how it is. So next attempt at 620. There's not much going on anymore. Unfortunately, that's just the time now. You can see here a lot of trading has happened at 6:15 as well. Yeah, if you just carefully look at the comprehensive order book, you can clearly see that's precisely where the vast majority of the significant action is currently taking place right now. A lot of volume is being accumulated up here. Look, now I'll show you again how to trail your stop loss. What do I do now? I see here that the last time there was significant trading volume on the 5-minute chart was at 6:03, and if it drops below that, things will break down, of course. That means we don't want to go below 6:03 anymore, and now we're back at 6:20. And the S&P is also back up here, and now look at the speed. This is crucial now. How is the market speed developing now? And then we'll see whether the breakout happens or not. And right now, it's still very slow. But it will. Nothing has been eaten up. Now you can see, now the speed is picking up a bit. We're holding the 620. And you can see how it keeps swinging back and forth. And this is really exciting for me now, because that's a good sign. Up here we have 118 contracts at 25, a big order. And it just ate that up. Boom, the speed is picking up. Look at what's being bought here. And now comes the breakout. And it's looking at the high again. Oh my God, what a market this is right now. Let's take out another position. It doesn't want to go yet. I'm going to keep it really simple now. I'm moving my stop loss up now. Below the last trades. Price area 16. And now I'm going to see what it does at the top. Last attempt, then I don't feel like being in anymore because then nothing is going to happen for now. And the probability of a consolidation is just too high for me. So, look, we're at the top. Something has to happen now. So if nothing happens now, then I don't know either. Then they must already be on sleeping pills or something. Oh man, dear people. So, and now? Now comes speed off. You can see it. Yes, and that's exactly what I thought. Now it's being sold off again for now. That's why I'm out now, I think. All right, there it cracked. And that's it, all done. Let's take a moment to see what exactly is left. $2,360. That's fine. And as we can see, it was a good decision for now to put the stop there. And now the lunch break is coming up, so I'm ending the session. It was fun. And with that, I say goodbye and thank you for watching.